Thank you. Organizers of the event, fellow speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Jai Hind. Now, I've been asked to talk about the drone applications in Survey of India. Now, before that, I would like to tell you one thing. What Survey of India does, there are in fact two organizations. There is a military survey, which looks after the mapping requirement of the armed forces, and there is a Survey of India. Both are interlinked. Now, when I say what is the requirement of drones for surveying and mapping, Survey of India came into existence in 1767, 257 years. So that means when there was no drones, no aircrafts, so mapping has started during Clive Lloyd's time. And the cadastral maps which you see in India, it was started by during Akbar's time. Todermal was one of the noble who was there with the Akbar, and that was the time the revenue mapping started in India. So mapping in India is quite old from that point of view, and as a result, we have got a strong foundation of control networks, both ground control points as well as the mean sea level. That is what we call the benchmarks in common sense. It is there. So normally people, they get confused because you have been seeing the atlas, you have been seeing the topographical maps, you have been seeing the guide maps, then you have been seeing the latest is your Google Maps. So people get confused. They see, so everything you are getting. So why do you need all those things? Now the background is that now when you there are two things. One is the resolution of the map or the map scales. Now if I tell you a cadastral map or the revenue maps what you see here most of the time is on 1:5,000 scale. And a simple pencil line is, when we in engineering terms, you can measure up to 1/4 of a millimeter. So when I convert in terms of the, it becomes 1.25 meter, plus minus it becomes 2.5 meter. In present day times, when the land cost has gone up, so 2.5 meter is quite a big amount. And if you pay a little bit of money to the patwari, you'll make it a little thicker. So you may get 5 meters under his pencil. So precision is very important. So Survey of India primary role is to do topographical mappings, which is on 1:50,000 scale, and 1:25,000 scale subsequently they did. But the earlier days the mapping and everything was based on chain survey, theodolites and those kind of instruments. Then came your photogrammetry, the aerial photographs. So in the 1950s, the aerial photographs came, and the Indian Institute of Photogrammetry was raised at Dehradun, which is now Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. Then in Hyderabad, we have got that Survey Training Institute. Now it is called the National Geospatial Survey Survey Technology and Mapping. I was heading that also, and I was the Survey General of India in Dehradun before my retirement. And I was the Additional Director General Military Survey also. So I have served in both the organizations in the government. Now, in the 50s when the aircrafts came, the photogrammetry technology came, we had the analog machines. Gradually, then the digital technology, the era came, and the analog machines got replaced by the digital photogrammetric machines. But still, there was a requirement for high resolution maps. The basic principles of surveying and mapping was generalization of detail. Why generalization of detail? Because you cannot accommodate so much of information on a piece of paper. So we used to have generalization of detail. If you see any map, so you'll find limited information. But then the digital technology empowered us to have more and more information and manipulate them as you like. So that is why gradually we started, then the GIS thing came in. The drone came into existence in India only during the Kargil war. So that time we were using the drones for just to detect the enemy locations and things like that, but there was no way we could measure them. So measurement was a challenge. Now the things have changed in the last few years. So at the same time, the technology has given us that, or it facilitates us to have a high resolution map. and manipulate information as you like it. So the basic, there are three, you can collect images from satellites, you can collect images from a aircraft platform, also you can collect images from a drone platform. But the drone gives you that flexibility of collecting the high resolution images on real time, and you can manipulate it the way you want. That is why the requirement of the drone technology, and that is what is being exploited by Survey of India, Military Survey and other government organizations. Now, when you talk about, so that is why I'll now focus on what are the importance of the technology, drone technology in mapping. That is one of the major applications, because drone is a platform, and on that platform you are putting some sensors. You have got the the mapping cameras. That means two cameras which takes photographs simultaneously. You can have the lidar sensors. You can have the night infrared sensors. So sensors is the source which collects the information. So you are getting a lot of images from that. And then you have got the modern technology like artificial intelligence, which empowers or us to extract information or manipulate the information the way we want. Then the new technology has come is the digital twin technology. So the moment the technology has increased our hunger to exploit these images. So drone is nothing. Drone is just helping us to collect the images of the area of our interest. So when we talk about the large scale mapping, and particularly let us say small areas or reasonably 7-8 kilometer areas, so you want to have very high resolution map. That means 1:1000 scale. As I said, cadastral map is 1:5000 only. But when you are talking about a very large scale project for say town planning, you want 1:1000 scale data on that, and that too your height information has to be half a meter. In disaster management, when we talk about flood zone, hazard zone mapping, one feet rise of the water will flood so much of area will get inundated. So here you want high resolution map with high accuracy vertical information. So there are two things. Now in Survey of India, this technology is being implemented or being exploited for various applications. Survey of India is only a technology provider to various government departments. The basic responsibility of Survey of India is for topographical mapping, which is on 1:50,000 scale, plus then tidal survey, then your vertical establishment of benchmarks, and there are so many other things they have to do. But the high resolution maps are required by various departments. So, like say for example, one project I'll tell you what are some of the projects which requires high resolution mapping, because cadastral mapping, the modernization of cadastral mapping. Survey of India is the technology provider, or it to the various state government departments, because as you know, the cadastral survey is the responsibility of the state governments. And in the central level, we have got the Department of Land Resources. So these are the two departments. But Survey of India helps them in providing the technology and do some handholding for that. So earlier we used to do all those things using photogrammetry survey, and then the state government used to do carry out. The problem is the implementation thing, because when you are earlier maps, whatever cadastral maps people were having, so if I have got say 10 acre of land, I am very happy. The moment you introduce a modern survey, so my land may increase to 11 acre or it may come down to 9 acre, because the earlier survey methods are not that accurate because of, as I said, various technological constraints. Now, when you are doing a very accurate survey, so it has to, those who are gaining land, they are happy. Those who are losing land, they will go to the court. So the state government has to enact a law so that if he goes to the court, so his case will not be tenable. So that is why one of the major projects which came up is called Survey of Village Abadi and Mapping with Improvised Technology in Village Areas, Sambhitva. It was 2020, drone technology was introduced first time in Survey of India in one of the major projects. It was a flagship project of the Government of India, Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Now, Ministry of Panchayati Raj was the nodal ministry, but the stakeholders are the state government departments, the land records department, revenue departments for implementation, and Survey of India was the technology partner. Now, what are the aim of this thing? Because in drone technology, you can do the mapping of the village areas, the Avadi land and all. You can have a very updated map of that area that will help in development of the gram panchayats. Then there are not many things. The villagers will also be empowered. So that is still being implemented. Okay, and a lot of work has gone except two states where the one is Andhra government, the other one I think is West Bengal. They did themselves because they introduced themselves. Now, I may be confusing of the two states. So one or two states they said we have already got a modernized map, so we don't want. Then the other areas was the National Hydrography Project, NHP, which is funded by the IMF and plus the Government of India. What is the National Hydrography Project? Because here we have got the major rivers, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi, Ganga and all. So the flood areas, 5 kilometers this side and that side, it has to be mapped on a high resolution. Because ultimately we have to prepare the hazard zone maps for that particular area. Now for that, the most applicable technology is the drone technology. So you fly drones on real time, you get the data, you process the data. You have got very powerful application software these days, which is also AI powered, and that is being that work is going on, and more work is going to come also. It is being done in phases. So that is one of the major areas where the drones are being used. The third one is the salt pan land survey. This is Ministry of Commerce requirement. As I said, Survey of India does all those things as a project. So as a technology partner to the various government departments. These are the large scale maps which is required even for your Ministry of Rural Development, and some surveys carried out for your urban smart cities and other things. So there also the drone is used for that. In salt pan land survey, which is that business is going to come out, that tender will be coming very shortly. Now here, two things are there. The accuracy requirement will be 10 centimeter for the orthographical images, and that means I am talking about the horizontal accuracy, and digital elevation model accuracy will be 20 centimeter. You see, why I intentionally mentioned about the accuracy is, whenever you are using a drone, the horizontal accuracy and vertical accuracy is at centimeter level. And when I am talking about the vertical accuracy, I am not talking about the height what you are getting from the drone. That is an ellipsoidal height. I am talking about the height which is adjusted with the mean sea level, Indian mean sea level. So all heights has to be adjusted with the Indian mean sea level. Then only we can do things. And then when we are getting horizontal accuracy in centimeter and vertical accuracy in centimeter, so that helps us in mapping in high resolution for any project work. So the project work can be very, even a lot of requirement comes. I'm now guiding IG drones. So where we get a lot of requirements from the various government and private clients. Now, so let us say some township is coming up. So they want the drones to be used, and high resolution maps are generated, three-dimensional, and that is what is being done. Archaeological Survey of India, they also want high resolution map of the archaeological sites where the drone applications is there. So if you, wherever there is a high resolution, mapping requirement, so this is there. Then one more thing, another thing which has been established by Survey of India is called the continuously continuously operating reference systems. So we all know that we get the your locations from the GPS. But GPS, when we are talking about, we are taking GPS values, it is about a few meters this side or that side, that accuracy. So the Survey of India has established all over the India continuously operating reference stations which receive signals from the GNSS which is there, GPS, GLONASS and other things, and continuously it is refining that location. So when you are going for a high resolution mapping, so you uh, that's one can take subscribe to that reference station control point and link it with your GPS, your drone, and whatever images you are taking, that the mapping automatically you can do as per the national reference framework. Otherwise, if you don't link it up with that, your mapping will not be linked with the national reference framework, it will be localized one. So that may not be very much suitable to that. Then comes to the requirement of the military survey. That is another important organization which provides your obstruction data for the Indian Air Force. Then your the landing maps, landing charts for the airports. Okay, so these are required for obstruction data. Now earlier days, human structures were not coming up so frequently. These days you find every second day one tower is coming up. Now that these are the obstruction data. This has to be collected. This can be collected using drone survey. So there is a lot of opportunities available in that particular area. Then the airfield survey, because for the landing charts and aeronautical mapping and those kind of things. So there is a lot of opportunity. Then we have got the cantonment survey. That is, you know that the largest land bank holder is the Ministry of Defence. So we have got the cantonments, defence lands. So it has to be surveyed, and a small area using drones, you survey it very precisely and do the mapping. Then there is a military requirements, particularly for the border areas. So border areas has to be mapped very precisely, and everything, all fights are on the land only, whether in the civil or in the army. Why are we fighting with China or Pakistan? It is all dispute is for the land. Even in the court, all civil cases are for land only. So everything related to land. So because we have to resolve all these disputes, so we need to have very precise and mapping. I'll share one small experience if I've got some time. Some time back, there was some discussion which was going on about demilitarization of Siachen. So Director General Military Operations called me. He said, and that particular time there was a particular post for which we are fighting. And Pakistan was showing the same latitude, longitude, and our map was also showing same latitude, longitude, but the locations were different. So he said, why it is so? I said, sir, it is true that in 1947, survey was carried out before 1947 by the Britishers. So they also have got the same maps, we have also got the same maps. But we have switched over from FPS to metric system. Then we have re-observed our control points. Then the paper also has got a shrinkage factor. So, and if you sum total all those errors, so some latitude, longitude, he may be saying the same thing and we may be saying the same thing, will be different. He says, how much will be the difference? I said, sir, it may be, say about 100 meters or so, plus minus this side, that side. He says, but for my army, 100 meters is too much. I want dot exactly this particular point. So here the importance of the location, precision. Okay. The second example, which I will tell you, everybody knows the height of the Mount Everest. But the height of Mount Everest, what Indian claim and what the Chinese claim are different. Why that? Have you ever thought over it? Because Indian mean sea level is not same as the Chinese mean sea level. When we talk about Indian mean sea level, we have got the tidal measuring stations in both the east coast and west coast, and the average is taken for 19 years. And based on that, we have measured. Similarly, Chinese has measured. So, but when in international forums, so we fight with each other. No, no, mine is correct and yours is not correct. Both are correct. You see, everything has got a limitation. Technology has got a this thing limitation. But in a nutshell, I can tell you, because of the technology, three things. One is the artificial intelligence. Earlier, technology was always developed in the military and then is to go to the civil. But this is the one technology which got developed in the civil and army is trying to adopt it. Okay. So, and it is changing particularly when we talk about the drone applications, so it has got a major impact on that. The second one is your sensors. Sensors capability. Earlier I used to see the LiDAR, most of the sensors bulky, even your those aerial cameras so heavy. But now we have got very light cameras. So sensors, and there are so many type of sensors. Then the uh, hunger for high resolution data and manipulation and the digital twins. The new generation is going for digital twins. My time is over? Okay. So I've got, I'm told to close my things, and should there be any questions? Can I take some questions, one or two? Okay, one question only I am allowed. So if there is one question, I can answer to that. Otherwise, thank you very much for patient hearing. And if there is any question, we can also discuss outside. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.